Hi, it's Mild Red Songbird, Mild Red Bird Song. You're looking at Adam Michael Buble. We give what is in us out. Michael Buble had the humiliation still in him that his wife, the sadist, Lopalato Pontius Pilate, in a past life put in him when he obeyed her order to sing to the baby in her womb by singing to her stomach, and then laughing at him and calling him stupid for thinking that their baby could hear him. She had killed Christ when she had been Pilate. They, Mr. and Mrs. Buble, came together in holy matrimony to replay that scene, confirmed, that was never reconciled in either of their minds. And replay it they did. Buble innocently sang. His wife, knowing he was innocent, derived pleasure from reducing him to being a sucker, a baby. A baby sucks. Sucks teat to eat. A baby is innocent. A child does what you order it to do. A child is at the mercy of its parent. When I was a young child, my mother heard me singing as I was washing dishes in the kitchen. She called me into the living room. I went to see what she wanted. She wanted me to sing for her. She said, "Sing for me." Without hesitation, I sang for her. When I finished, she said, "You can go back into the kitchen." Not said, but implied, in the kitchen where you belong. So I became Cinderella in that family and washed dishes for the rest of my days in that family. As far as I was concerned, my ability to sing had been tested, and I had failed the test. I cannot sing. I was humiliated to think that I had thought that I could sing. That I had ever thought I could sing, ever decoded. Eve, energy, her. That Eve had thought her energy could sing. The rest of my life, I sat and listened to others sing in church and clubs. Sometimes I danced as I listened to people who had never been discouraged from singing sing. My sister, my mother's favorite child, sang in St. John Baptist Church choir and in the Burt High School Glee Club. I would sing along with singers as I listened to their records. Once, at a Jackie Wilson concert at a baseball field in Nashville, Tennessee, I left my seat and walked to the wire fence that separated the fans from the singer. It was as if I was in a trance. My date came with me. He asked me what I was doing. At the time, I didn't know what or why I was doing. Today I understand. Let me digress here. They have a project called G5 where they connect your frequency to what they want you to do by having you feel what they want you to feel, by connecting your consciousness to a computer. Now that is robbing you of yourself. If you allow anybody to do that to you, you lost your mind, because they got your mind. So anyway, that day, I understand that Jackie Wilson was singing on my frequency, words and sounds that moved me to want to be nearer to him. Jackie Wilson was Jesus Christ Gorinda Singh, my husband. he was communicating with in another life. Okay. He was communicating with me indirectly so I could feel alive. As Mary, I was grief-stricken for having him taken from me, having Jesus Christ taken from me in the first century by those who conspired to kill the Savior of the world. That's Herod, now Gary Bird, Judas, a friend of Gary Bird's, Stevie Wonder, Pontius Pilate, Michael Buble, Jesus Christ's projection wife, and the Antichrist, the Jews. Once, when I was watching Lou Rawls in concert at the Americana Hotel in New York City, when my date, Dr. Donald Bean, went to the bathroom, Lou Rawls left the stage and came over to me and told me to come to his hotel room when the show ended. He wanted to be with me. Of course, I never considered doing such a thing to my date. Imagine how he would have felt. Then one day I saw Adam, Michael Buble, singing with an Italian singer on video, a Lou Rawls song, "You'll Never Find Another Love Like Mine." Italian decoded. I truth, Adam's will, I sex, and. I truth, Adam's will gives me pleasure, and angel Evangeline Eve. So Eve receives pleasure from doing Adam's will, his true will. Okay? Generally, that's true. Adam's will pleases me. But this video where he heaped praise and flirted intensely with the singer, who it sounded like he called her Laura Pussy, I felt uncomfortable watching them. Her thighs were exposed. I felt and feel so uncomfortable watching them practically making love in front of the thousands of people watching. I don't watch that video. I wondered how his wife could stand it until I learned that she was Christ's killer, Pontius Pilate. Buble Adam is a projection of Christ, and she doesn't love Christ. Her pattern with Christ is to kill him, not to love him. And his pattern with her, with Pontius Pilate, is to let himself be killed, to be a martyr. You see, this one is history. You're doomed to repeat history if you don't know what it is. So I'm telling him what it is. What it is the name of the album. Edwin Birdsong and I did that. Gary Bird at least calls a masterpiece. Adam's performance with Laura Pussy was for Eve. Adam the ape in the beginning, so the performance was for Eve. Adam the ape in the beginning, when Eve joined him on earth. You and I on earth together. That's a song Buble sings. On earth, so Eve came to earth to relieve his loneliness. And what did he do? He beat her, kicked her around, raped her, because he was an animal. That was his nature. Animals have no empathy. When their son Cain, when Adam and Eve's son Cain grew up to be some size, near an adult, he loved his mother, Eve, with gentle touches and kisses, etc. Adam, who had never had to share his play toy, Eve, became enraged and jealous and beat Cain and Eve and drove them out of the garden when they couldn't take it anymore. Adam making love with Laura Pussy was revenge. He was making Eve jealous, as she had made him jealous inadvertently in the garden. Adam, he entered the stage that day. He walked on like a gunfighter about to have a fight. He tried to make Eve jealous as he introduced and treated Barbra Streisand like a god too, like she was the most important person in the world. But Eve wasn't jealous because Streisand was dressed like a man. Adam knows that Eve longs to sing, but her God, her mother, psyched her out to believe she was not given the talent to sing by God. When Eve's mother was born as her granddaughter, Jandara, Eve used to sing and dance like she was in a musical. Love is a mini splendor thing. Love is a mini splendor thing. It's the April rose that only grows in the early spring. That's the song I used to sing to Jandara. I sang it to her young granddaughter every night when she was visiting Eve's home, which was every weekend. Eve discovers that her mother had been Shirley Temple, and that her love of singing had been reawakened by Eve's singing to her regularly as a young age. Eve had been singers Mahalia Jackson, gospel queen, opera diva Marian Anderson, queen of jazz Ella Fitzgerald, singer Sarah Vaughan, and Lisa Stansfield Projection, a jazz white girl singer. Eve knew she was supposed to sing to a singer from stage. She thought it was to Jesus Christ Gorinda Singh, who had been Nat King Cole, Louis Armstrong Projection, Guru of Love, Barry White, Frankie Valli, Michael Bolton, Frank Zappa, Ricky Nelson, Sir Paul McCartney Projection, Billy Eckstine, Jackie Wilson, Jerry Butler, Luther Vandross. Okay. Eve has intense stage fright. She had been badly criticized in front of the whole school as a child by a white man, big wig from the Board of Education, because she had stood on stage having forgotten her speech, where she was, who she was, after being overcome with repressed emotions about why she was put in the position of speaking to the whole school while filled with confusion and other crippling emotions. She has of late learned that Michael Buble has been asking girls in his audiences to sing to him. He said to one girl in Energy, "You're not Eve, you sing too good." Adam wants Eve to sing to him publicly and have her voice crack and have her sound awful, as her mother had long ago destroyed her self-confidence, so Eve can feel what he felt when his wife laughed at him, humiliated. Eve had already done that. She once took a singing class in San Fernando Valley, California. She had to sing a song to the class. She sang Climb Every Mountain from the musical The Sound of Music, with a standing order in her brain that she can't sing. She sounded awful, of course, and some members of the class laughed, and she kept on singing. She is replaying the simulation with her mother where she sings and fails to please, to succeed. So Adam sang on video, "See Through Me." Eve succeeded. She understands why Adam does what he does. If not, if she doesn't understand right away, she understands eventually. Event, Eve entered as your ally. That's Adam. Eve is Adam's ally. As her God, Eve understands Adam's mind. She does so by becoming him. That's what love is, becoming the other person. By putting herself in his shoes just long enough to know what he feels, which she can then tell him as he is unconscious. Each man is God, although those in human forms are not all men or women. Some are snakes, and some are trees, and some are horses, and there are 8,400,000 species one can be, and sometimes they sneak into the people form. Edwin told me he was a reptile, a chameleon. They can change skin color. Edwin could talk to white people as though he was white, and he could talk to black people as though he was black. He said to me regarding me, I rise to the occasion. That's the reason why his material on what it is, and to a lesser extent the album Supernatural, which Edwin and I did together, were of a higher quality. It's been said by WBLS, WLIB, WBAI disc jockey Gary Bird that what it is, due to the high quality songs, is his masterpiece album. Edwin Bird song, who had been Bach and who had been Irving Berlin. Eve, as Einstein's mind, wanted to understand the mind of God so she could feel what God feels. Way back at the beginning when Adam was an ape and she was his escape, focusing on you, he was able to escape from the boredom and loneliness of being alone in the world. And brutal as Adam the ape was to Eve, he became her God. Love is forever now. I know Forever Now is Michael Buble's new song. I know what God, the animal nature of God, felt, because having been at all levels of creation, I know what Adam, the animal, felt like too. Every woman who's ever loved a man can understand his mind and can know what he felt like at any given moment. I probably would have given the satisfaction of Adam seeing me making a joke of myself, singing when my brain had orders I cannot sing, were it not for my babies in my womb. I spent the money I would have used to buy a ticket to go to Adam's concert, to buy food to be healthy for my children's sake. Adam wouldn't have a need to have Eve humiliate herself if he'd released the humiliation he felt when his wife humiliated him, and it stayed with him. All he has to do is to go back to that time, realize what he felt as she mocked him, as she laughed at him, and admit it. Say it. I am humiliated. I am chagrined. I am mortified. I am mad at myself for being vulnerable and innocent and unsuspecting and gullible. When he names each experience, he'll be free to look at the situation objectively, logically. It's not his fault, and then it'll go away from him. Those haunting feelings will go away from him. He'll digest them into himself, and they won't bother him anymore. It's not his fault. There was not talking shed therapy to detach Christ from Pilate or Mary from Judas with anger, and Judas's attachment to Mary through covetous. He wanted what Jesus Christ had, the love of a beautiful soul. So you will. What you sow, you also will reap. Also, a will sow her Eve, Adam, ape. Adam's will sow her. Her sow Adam's will. Eve, Madam Ape. EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. She does what Adam, Ma, his ma, wills. Eve does what Adam wills. Okay. She is his ma. When she came to the earth, he was alone. She was a female. She became his ma. He was an ape. He became her father, her God. So her God, her father, was an animal. What saved me from buying a ticket to the garden was I couldn't get the ticket right away. So I had time to think. You see, you always need to take time to think. Not always, but generally, most of the time. Sometimes intuition works. Just do it. I thought about the innocent, vulnerable babies in my womb. I did the right thing for them, which, as it turned out, was the right thing for me as well. It would have been crazy to go to the garden, sing, be laughed at by the thousands, while depriving my babies of vicarious food, because I would have spent the money for the ticket, for the food on a ticket. You see? I hope you follow that. It's an amazing psychological study of Adam, and to an extent Eve. Okay, that's it. I'll make another video when I have some more insights to share with you. So long.